So on this nail, we've already built up our base and we're going to be doing a chunky red glitter. This just means that whether the glitter is encased in gel or whether it's loose, tips and tricks on how to not get this really fat wedge at the cuticle area. So you shouldn't be having a huge step here, which can obviously lead to lifting because the product is so thick. So these are just a few tips and tricks on how to get basically a really slender, slim looking nail, but with a really chunky glitter. Here we go. So we are going to be using Sparklez Sweats On, Wine's Gone. So this is a super chunky glitter, as you can see. It's got a lot of big pieces in it, as well as a mixture of sizes. So if you wanted to get colour coverage with this to be red, you'd have to put quite a bit on to make sure that you don't get any gaps. So I'm just going to show you that if you apply it thin, you can see then that these gaps between the glitter are showing through to the colour underneath. So where the gel needs to be thin around here, this is where we're encouraged to put more of it up here to try and get that colour coverage, and we end up with this really big step. So I'm just going to show you some tips and tricks on how to make your chunky glitter gels look nice and thin and give you a completely thin and flawless cuticle area. So we're using a red glitter, and the trick is, our lovely trick is to find a matching red colour, and that is a paint, something that covers really well in one thin coat. So you can see this matches. As an example, for instance, if I was going to use this glitter, I would match it with a very similar colour. It doesn't have to be dead on, but it has to be in the sort of colour scheme so that they match. And this just means then that our brain is tricked into thinking that the whole nail is glitter, but what it's actually going to be is a thin layer of colour and not a lot of glitter. So before we apply our really chunky red glitter, we're going to focus on getting that really clean, crisp cuticle area with our actual base colour. So don't forget to brush up and lift that skin up so we can work under it. And whatever colour matches your glitter, just do a coat over the whole nail, nice and thin. Remember, my structure now is going to be the glitter, so I haven't built up any clear structure at all. This clear layer here you're looking at is so thin, it's got nothing to do with any added structure. And we're knowing that our glitter is going to be part of that because the glitter is also suspended in gel. I'm making sure that I'm getting in super close to my sidewalls and cuticle area. This is red 103, beautiful rich red Christmassy colour. Although I think reds are great all year round. Once I've got that super close coat around the sidewalls, I'm just going to make sure that it's not too patchy, but we're not looking for 2 or 3 coats of this to be super, it's just for that crispness around the back of the cuticle area there. Once that's done, I'm going to pop that in the lamp. That red layer has cured, and we're going to go on with our chunky gel. So, picking up a small amount, just coat the whole nail. And don't worry, we can move these bits of glitter around in a minute. I'm just getting a bit of a mapping layer with the gel going as well. And then what I'm going to do is pick up the glitter. And this is where you don't have to be so specific right up close to that cuticle line, purely because your brain is now going to be tricked into thinking that that's glitter, but what it is actually seeing, the gaps between the glitter are showing through to the colour that we've put underneath. This means that we can get that really thin, flush cuticle area. So add in some nice chunky bits. And we can do that without adding lots and lots of glitter, but still get the same sparkly effect. So just make sure those pieces of glitter are lying flat. And again, just tuck in all the way around the edges, make sure there's no pieces of huge glitter that are sticking out further than they should be. And then just move it around in the light and make sure that Make sure that's sitting quite flush. And that is pretty thin on there, believe it or not, but your brain's going to be, like I said, tricked into thinking that there's loads of glitter on there. And then you can go straight in the lamp. So that red gel glitter layer has cured. So I'm just going to cap it. We don't need loads because remember the glitter has took up quite a bit of that structure as well. So just do a thin mapping layer of clear gel over the whole nail. And then we're just going to add in enough structure just so that we can file this nail smooth. So remember, don't be too sparse with this layer. If you don't put enough on, you're going to file into your glitter. You need to allow enough gel to be left behind, but also enough gel for shaping. So just nice and smooth. And the most important thing is turning that hand over, just to help you with your smooth filing. And straight in the lamp. So I'm going to take that dispersion layer off, and then I'm going to finish file this nail. So we have dusted off and buffed the shine and just made sure it's super flawless, and we are now going to top coat this nail, making sure you cover all of the extension. Lovely, over for a few seconds and in the lamp. So this nail's cured, and we're just going to take off that shrinkage by taking off tiny bit at the end, just about a millimetre, giving us that super crisp finish. Don't forget a few strokes from underneath, not the actual side, so your file should be flat, coming around and doing the underneath. And then try not to touch your top coat because it's warm and you don't want to dull the shine. And then just make sure that your cuticle oil with your tack-free top coat only goes over the actual skin for the moment until it really cools down. Then you can do the whole rub to squeak. And that is our glitter encapsulation, but with smooth, thin application at the back.